Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. Tonight, I have a powerful warning for you. Beware this church. What I'm going to show you tonight sounds stranger than fiction. For some of you watching, this will blow your mind. You'll be shocked. You'll be angered. There's something seriously wrong with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I'm not going to tell you about it. Rather, I'm going to show you so that you can see it with your own eyes. You will see why I say, beware this church. Do you know that a picture is worth 1,000 words? Psychologists Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud both argued that symbols have the power to evoke and influence our actions on a subconscious level. You know, in ancient Egypt, Babylon, Greece, Rome, the pagan mystery religions all use symbols. So it's important for us to understand those symbols because those symbols carry demonic authority and demonic allegiance. You see, the names of the religions change over time, but the symbols remain the same. You'll find the same symbols used by Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, and those very same symbols are still used to this very day. Now, first, let me share with you what Yahweh said about religious symbols. In Exodus 24, he said, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." God forbid his people from making graven images or any likeness in heaven and earth. You know, it is a sin to represent God in any way with an image. And now that we all understand that this is a sin, a transgression of the second commandment, let's take a look at some Seventh-day Adventist symbols. I want you to look here at the new logo for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I want you to notice two things in this picture. First is the trifold flame, the three-part flame. And second is the inverted cross. Now, many of you know who Lucifer is, I'm sure. Lucifer is a Latin name meaning light bearer. And many people today believe that Lucifer is none other than Satan. Now I want you to look at the pagan Greek goddess Artemis. She was the dawn goddess, the bringer of light, the goddess of light. She brought the light in the morning. And what is she holding in her hand? A torch. You know, an inscription from the 3rd century BC calls her the giver of light to mortals. She is the light of the world. Eutychus called her the light bearer, and the name light bearer in Greek is Lucifera. This god was adopted by the Romans, named Ceres. In ancient images, Ceres bears a torch, sometimes two, and rides in a chariot drawn by snakes. Ceres, the Roman goddess of fertility, holding the Luciferian torch. In ancient Roman bridal processions, a young boy used to walk in front of the bridal party carrying Ceres' torch to light the way for the bridal party. Then we have the Statue of Liberty, which is modeled off the Roman god Libertas. The French called the Statue of Liberty the freedom illuminating the world. Now, the threefold flame is very popular in the New Age in Buddhism. There's nothing Christian about this symbol. Remember, the second commandment teaches that God cannot be represented by a symbol. And yet on their website, the Seventh-day Adventist Church says about this logo, it says, quote, "Above the cross and the open Bible is a burning flame that represents the Holy Spirit," unquote. They say this threefold flame represents the Holy Spirit. But Yahweh said, quote, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above or on the earth below." In the NIV, "You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth beneath." We're not talking here about an image of something random that you hang on your wall. We're talking about a religious image, an icon. Yahweh said, don't make any image. He said, don't make any image. We don't need an image representing the Holy Spirit. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, I want you to notice the upside-down cross. This is a symbol used historically by the Catholic Church. Now, some Adventists will assure you that it's not really upside down, but I have only one thing to say about that. We're not blind. Yes, it's subtle on the logo on the left, but on the right, we've outlined the shape. You see, the subconscious mind can see an inverted cross, and it is definitely inverted. If it were not inverted, it would be more like a plus sign than a cross. Let me tell you something about the dimensions of a cross. They are 70-30. That means 70% of the cross is below the crossbar, and 30% is at the top, above it. Now, it's impossible to get those dimensions in this picture unless you invert the cross. This is definitely an inverted cross, with 70% of the cross, the lower part of it, going up between the flames. The outlined image on the right shows a cross with 70-30 dimensions. We added those outlines to show you this cross is inverted. So, what is the significance of an inverted cross? An inverted cross is the symbol of the defeat or destruction of Christianity. You'll see here is a demonic painting of a goat-headed Satan clutching an upside-down cross. The inverted cross is often combined with the satanic pentagram in satanic jewelry, as you can see here. Many demonic heavy metal bands use this symbol. And Lady Gaga's music video called Alejandro, her robes have inverted crosses on them. In popular culture, Glenn Benton has an inverted cross on his forehead. Benton is known for his satanic and anti-Christian beliefs. The real origin of this symbol is, of course, modern Babylon, which I believe to be the Catholic Church. Here you see the inverted cross on the back of the Pope's throne. And here's a couple more pictures where you can clearly see the inverted cross on his throne. And here's a few more. Thanks to news agencies for capturing all these pictures. So now we come back to the Seventh-day Adventist logo. The inverted cross represents demonic control and subjection to Rome. The president of the Seventh-day Adventist Corporation, Neil Wilson, once said, "There is another universal and truly Catholic organization, the Seventh-day Adventist Church." Yes, they are truly Catholic. Come out of her, my people. Babylon is fallen. You see, in 1977, the General Conference Corporation of Seventh-day Adventists presented a gold medallion to Pope Paul VI. On the top, you see a picture of Bert Beach, the Seventh-day Adventist leader of the Northern European and Western African Division. He went to Rome and presented the golden graven image to the Pope as an expression of their close friendship with the papacy. Let's take a closer look at that golden medallion he gave the Pope. On the left, you'll see a graven image of Jesus. This is expressly forbidden by the second commandment. We are forbidden to make a graven image of anyone in heaven. And this is definitely a graven image. And it's definitely religious in nature. And Jesus is definitely in heaven, seated at the right hand of the Father. And on the right hand, in this picture, you'll see the Ten Commandments. And you'll notice here that the cross is not standing upright. What's it doing? It's starting to lean. It's starting to fall over. And that represents the fall of Seventh-day Adventism. That fall was apparently completed 30 years later. 30 years after Elder Beach gave this medallion to the Pope. The Seventh-day Adventist Church released a new symbol in 2017. The new SDA logo was released. And now the cross is not just leaning. It's not just down. It's an inverted cross, showing total subjection to Roman Catholicism. Now, if that wasn't enough, let me show you a few more pictures. Because a picture is worth 1,000 words. I want to introduce you to the all-seeing eye of the pagan Egyptian god Horus. This symbol goes back thousands of generations, and jewelry with this symbol can still be purchased today. Now here's a symbol you're probably all familiar with. It's the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill. This symbol was used widely by Freemasons. And trust me when I tell you there's nothing sacred or Christian about this. It's pagan and demonic to the core. You've probably seen this symbol at the Super Bowl halftime celebration. You also find the all-seeing eye in Roman Catholicism. Here's an example. Notice the all-seeing eye above the priest's right shoulder. Now here's the Seventh-day Adventist magazine that's called Ministry. Take a look at it and ask yourself, what kind of message are they trying to send to the world? Here you have what appears to be an eye in a pyramid structure. And that graphic is not by chance. That graphic took a lot of work and a lot of money to produce to make it look just like that. Compare that with what's on the back of your dollar bill, and you'll see that Babylon is fallen. The all-seeing eye of Horus has become a popular modern icon. And what celebrities in Hollywood will do is they'll circle their eye with their finger and thumb, and the other 3 fingers are visible, as you see in the picture here. And I want you to notice the Advent healthcare icon here of the single eye. And notice how the words Adventist and community healthcare are forming a circle around the eye. And then you notice the 3 small fingers coming out off the eye. What a bizarre icon for a community healthcare. It's totally pagan. Now I want you to look at another symbol. The triquetra is an ancient Celtic symbol, a Celtic symbol of the triple goddess. Now Led Zeppelin used to use this as part of his logo, and this same symbol is worn by Wiccan witches today. This symbol is found on some tarot cards. It's also the symbol of the Trilateral Commission. Now I want you to look in the middle of the screen now. I've put the symbol of the Seventh-day Adventist hospital called Florida Hospital. First of all, let me say, it's a bizarre symbol. It has nothing to do with Christianity or healthcare. It's a triquetra, pure and simple. And what an odd symbol for a Christian ministry to choose. Now earlier we talked about the torch of the light bearer being Lucifer. And we find the same torch on the back of the U.S. dime. And oddly enough, we find it on the SDA Community Services logo on the right. Again, I have to say, this is a bizarre symbol to use for community service. Why make a symbol that looks so much like the torch of a pagan deity? And how about the symbol for Adventist education? They have a new symbol as well, the letter A with 3 lines across it. What a bizarre symbol. What does it mean? And why is it so similar to the occult symbol of anarchy? Notice the cross stroke of the A on the top and on the bottom symbol. How the brush stroke starts large on the left and is smaller on the right. How uncanny the similarity. Now, remember the Masonic symbol of the all-seeing eye? Let's go back to that. Look at this painting called The Way of Life. This painting was commissioned way back in the 1800s by James and Ellen White, founders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It can be found in some early Seventh-day Adventist books. And how strange to have the all-seeing eye right in the middle of the picture, separate from heaven. What is the purpose of having this Masonic symbol in the center of the picture? Well, it should be no surprise because a number of early Seventh-day Adventists were Masons. Now, Seventh-day Adventists will deny that they have anything to do with Masonry. But why is there an all-seeing eye in the center of their picture? And why are all these Adventist leaders sitting with Ellen White here giving the Masonic hidden hand gesture? You know, Adventists can say all they want, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. Our eyes aren't lying to us. We see something here that is not right. It's evil, and we know it. Let me show you one more photograph before we close today. And I'm sorry for the quality of this. I got this from the Seventh-day Adventist University. It was taken at James and Ellen White's grave shortly after she died around 1915. And I want you to notice and see if you see anything unusual in this picture. Yes, that's right. That's an obelisk marking their grave. If you have ever had any doubt up to this point, it should be gone now. This was on the gravesite after James White died. It took a lot of money and a lot of planning to create and put up this obelisk. Now, obelisks are an ancient pagan fertility symbol. They're found in pagan Egypt. They're found in Rome. There's a huge one at the Vatican. And of course, we all know about the one in Washington, D.C. But the obelisk is expressly forbidden in Leviticus 26:1. Yahweh said you can't put up an obelisk. These pillars that the people were putting up even back in those days, they were obelisks. And yet the whites put up an obelisk on their grave, a pagan symbol of the sun god Ra. You know what Paul said? He said, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. The angel of Revelation 18:4 said, come out of her, my people. Listen, Babylon is fallen. The cross is inverted, and it's time to end the fellowship. Come out of her, my people. Soren Kierkegaard once said, there are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to accept what is true. What are you going to do with what you've seen today? Brothers and sisters, it's time we take a long, hard look at Seventh-day Adventism. I invite you to continue your journey, your quest for truth at nonsda.org, where we compare Seventh-day Adventist truth against Bible truth. and what you find there may blow your mind. But before I go, let me leave you with this final warning. Beware this church.